What's going on, everyone? We're here on YouTube. Today we're going to be sourcing 5 college textbook winners. So I'm really excited to get into today's video. Also, a couple of really important announcements. One of those being tonight, Victor and I are going to be holding our quarterly BookMine Mini meetup. So if you're unfamiliar with the BookMine Mini meetup, essentially we offer BookMine Mini to the community for free. And because it's not a paid thing, right? I mean, we can't meet with you guys all the time, but we meet once a quarter. And so tonight, we will be meeting at 5 p.m. PST. And if you're signed up on BookMine Mini, meaning you actually have a BookMine Mini account, whatever that email was that you had associated with signing up for BookMine Mini, that's going to be the link that you can use to actually come to the meeting tonight. So it's going to be live in the flash. Victor and I are going to be there, and we're going to be going over a lot of really important stuff. So really excited. Let me share my screen here. So if you are sourcing on BookMine right now, you would basically see we have this bar at the top, free BookMine Mini Meetup tonight, November 3rd, 8 p.m. EST. You can go and click there for the link. And basically, we're just going to be giving tons of giveaways. So we're going to talk about the exact roadmap to 50K per year with BookMine Mini. So just literally using only BookMine Mini, how to get to 50,000 in revenue in a 365 time span. We're going to go through, how to use BookMine Mini effectively. We're going to do a little bit of a keep a graph breakdown on some of the books that we find. We'll do some live BookMine sourcing. And then we're also going to be giving over $1,000 of free giveaways. I think we're going to be giving away a 1-month BookMine subscription, a 3-month BookMine subscription. We're going to be giving away 1 ticket to the upcoming college textbook flipping masterclass, which is happening this Wednesday. And then we're also going to be giving away 1 ticket, or the recordings to the high school book flipping masterclass, which we did back earlier in this May. So the goal is to get you all to come. So again, if you're somebody who's not already a BookMine member, and you're somebody that wants to actually get started, then make sure you come to the BookMine Mini Meetup later tonight. I will say, the giveaways are going to be for people who aren't already BookMine members, right? People who are just first time, kind of haven't even started out with paid BookMine subscriptions. So that's going to be a ton of giveaways. Again, it's for the community. It's for people who are just trying to get into it. So it should be a lot of fun. Hopefully everyone's excited about that. But the other thing that's actually really cool is, let me go and share my screen here. Let's make sure that we're good over here as well. Make sure I'm live. Okay, sweet. So we're good over there. All right, next thing that I want to share with you also is we are going to be doing the college book flipping masterclass, and that's kind of what the title of this live stream was. So the college book flipping masterclass is going to be happening on Wednesday, November 5th. It's going to be 3 sessions. So it's going to be Wednesday, November 5th, the 19th, and December 3rd. And so you can enroll by just being a BookMine paid member. So really, there's 2 ways you can get it. You can either pay for the full price of it if you're interested in it. Again, it's a masterclass. It's 3 sessions. And it's essentially like, us teaching you how to flip college books. It's like you taking a course on how to flip college books for thousands of dollars. So you can enroll in 2 ways. The not as smart way to enroll is to just pay for it up front. We do have a link to buy it for $297 if you want to do that. It's basically less than, it's basically $99 a class. And again, you will, especially if you don't know a ton about college textbooks, you'll definitely get way, way, way more value than that out of each session, because we're going to be going over a lot of information that you need to do really well flipping college textbooks. But that's the really not so smart way to do it. The way that we really are incentivizing you to actually enroll is by just saying, hey, any paid BookMine member as of the current date, right? Let's say, you become a paid BookMine member today. Boom, you just get the college book flipping masterclass for free. So essentially, it's an amazing cost savings because you're not having to buy the book flipping masterclass on its own, even though it is its own masterclass. The goal is, again, just to provide as much value for our BookMine members as possible. So if you are a BookMine member, a paid BookMine member, then you can, you'll get the college book flipping masterclass for free. So hopefully that makes sense. And again, if you guys have any comments or questions, let me know down below. And let me know where you're coming from, because I do see that there are people here watching. But again, if you don't comment, then I don't know if you have any questions. So feel free to ask questions if you do have them. And with that said, again, the goal of today was to get excited about the college textbook flipping masterclass and to flip some college textbooks. So we're not going to stop until we find 5 winners. And I would say a winner is going to be a book that we can make, I would say either I'd say like $100 profit. If we can make $100 profit, I would call that a winning college textbook. And that doesn't mean flipping a single copy. It means probably flipping multiple copies. So like if we can find a textbook we think we can make 20 bucks on, it'd be finding like the ability to buy 5 copies of that book. So that's kind of what we're gonna do. Um, and again, what we have here with BookMine is to keep a snapshot. All these books are undervalued. You know, if you look at their current price relative to their most recent sales range drops, they are all undervalued. The question is it undervalued enough for you? And again, specifically, we're going to be focusing on college textbooks here. Two big things with college textbooks you want to remember is can you actually sell it? And then two, is it counterfeit likely on the books run counterfeit probability checker? So I'll make sure I have that up and let's get going. We do also have a book type here. So you could just go over to college if you want to find college textbooks. And so we can just go through these here. Now, not all of them are going to be coded exactly correctly, and that's just because it's difficult to code every book exactly the way it is. Because essentially, we're looking at trends to, basically, increase sales rank during specific periods of the year, and also inflation and use price during specific periods of time to make the guess as to, whether or not it is a college textbook. So we're gonna see if this pre-algebra book is still here. It's $6. It's very, very undervalued if it's still there. Let's go and take a look. Okay, it is. So you can buy this right now on Amazon for $6.62 plus $4.49 shipping. The next copy after that's 13, and then it goes up to 36, 46, and 98. Now, what's interesting to me is in August, September, it actually was pretty cheap for about a week. It was about $10, and then it was selling upwards of $65 or more. If you look at the previous January season, it does have 2 sales ring drops in the 40s. So what you have here is a college textbook that just doesn't sell a ton, and there's a little bit of demand in January. So I would be okay buying 1 copy of this. This would be an over 100% ROI book flip. It might take a while to sell. The goal would be for you to sell in the January textbook season, which is very possible based upon where the offer count is right now. So you'd be all in it for $11.11. You can see how today's offer count. Let me see if I can draw. I can use my right now. You can see the offer count. Sorry, that's the used price right now. The offer count is 10. Same time last year, the used offer count was like 17 or 18. So we have fewer offers on the listing. I would doubt there's an FBA offer because, there's no FBA offer. So you'd be the only FBA offer. 1358, I still think even 1358 is not even a bad deal for this book either because you'd be trying to sell it for probably on the low end 40 to the upper end 60. But this book, $11 is definitely a little bit better. It's a cheaper price. So I would buy this book. And in fact, all these books that I'm going to share with you, these are books that I'm going to buy after the stream if nobody buys them. So if this is still there when the stream is over, well, then I'm going to go ahead and buy the book. So, double check again that you can sell it. Looks like I can sell it. Make sure that it's not counterfeit likely over here on the books run counterfeit calculator. It's also a really good sign that they're willing to buy it back for something. It means that it does have value. And again, you had sales at $65. So this could very easily sell for $59.99 in this upcoming January season. You're the only FBA seller. I think that's very possible. Being the only FBA seller, you could even potentially even go higher than that, $79.99. I mean, that's definitely not out of the realm of possibility. I would say if you want to be conservative, you should probably sell for like $45, 100% ROI. Again, a good book, but we're not even going to call this a winner because today we're trying to find 5 textbooks that can make us $100 profit. But that's definitely a very good book. I would recommend buying it. It's a pre-algebra book. I'll go ahead and put it in the chat if anyone is interested. And there you go. Let me actually delete these comments because I think I added a 1 to the end of it. There you go. Okay, so I would definitely go buy that book. I will buy that book after the live stream if it's still available. All right, so let's see if we can't find anything else here. Specifically, we're looking for a book that has a January season, right? Because the goal is to try to sell this in January, if possible. All right, let's take a look at this one. Fundamentals of Phonetics. Practical guide for students. This was selling for about $75 in August, about $90 there in January. You can see for multiple years, it has had a very good sort of, supply demand, ebb and flow. January, August. So that looks good there. And you can see the use price has actually come down a little bit. So it's right here in the 35s. Last year's in the 90s. I would say right now offer count's around 30. Last year offer count was right around low 20s. So I would expect, because we're at a little bit of a higher offer count, maybe the use price doesn't get quite as high. Maybe it doesn't get up to the 80, 90, but maybe it gets up to like the 65, 75. So I would just again, try to be as conservative as possible. Now, when you look at the sales rank here, you can see in January it is pretty decent. You can see if we zoom in all to all of January, the lowest the sales rank got was actually January 23rd, which is a Thursday. Got down to 22,000. But I would say a book that, probably is selling between, I don't know. It's hard to judge, but I would say, on the low end, 30 copies, on the high end, 70 or 80 copies, maybe even more than that, honestly. Um, and so let's go ahead and look at the listing. Again, make sure you can sell the book, make sure that it's not counterfeit likely. So it's unlikely to be counterfeit. Let's double check to make sure we can actually sell it. That's an important thing. And it looks like we can sell, which is good. All right, so 34.44 plus 3.99 shipping. Looks like we're going to be at a total of 38.43. And again, I would target a little bit lower, so I'd probably target like $70, like 70, $75. So let's say $69.99. So about $10 profit per book. Now, here's a book that, again, I'd say that be probably conservative, $69.99. I think you could potentially sell for a little bit more than that. Again, last year was selling the 80s. The buy box was even up into the hundreds for a little bit, but again, we're going off of conservative estimates here. The good news here is also you see 2 copies that are really low, and then it goes right back up into the 60s. You do have somebody with 10 copies at 65 as a FBA seller, but 10 copies on a listing with the sales rank, being pretty low like that isn't really that many copies. I would say if they had like 30 or 40 copies, that would definitely be a little bit more worrisome. But yeah, I mean, you could buy up to 8 copies of this if you wanted. Again, what I would say is think about where you're at with your capital. If you only have a couple $1,000s to spend, maybe even if you have less than $5,000 to spend for the upcoming textbook season, I'd probably only buy 1 or 2 copies of this, just because you don't want to go too deep on a book, especially if you only have like $5,000 to spend in like a month or 2 months. It's not very much to spend on books. So I would say just pick up a copy, but I would pick up a copy of that, and I'd probably put min price $69.99, max price $79.99. So we'd be looking at anywhere between like a $10 to $20 profit on a book like that. So I'd say it's pretty good. So that book is out there as well. I'll go and put that in the chat. It's a good lead. All right, let's see what else we got here. Okay, DSM-5 Made Easy. Usually these DSM-5 books are likely to be counterfeited, or they're just very popular, so likely they have issues. So for that reason, I'm just going to stay away from it, but let's keep going. It did look like a pretty decent book, though. Let's see. So you have a pretty expensive book that doesn't really show much seasonality, kind of just sells year round. And so it was selling in the 130s. It just dropped down to 60. And that's been a really recent thing. For a book like this, I would just make sure that there isn't a newer edition out or available. But otherwise, this looks pretty decent. I mean, like I said, it was selling for 130. It's now down here at 60. I guess it's actually 70 technically because of the shipping. And so you can see how BookMine says it's actually 77.18. So 77.18, that's not even the right book. So that's probably why it's so cheap. So this one's a water damage copy, and then it goes to up to 100. So we'd actually pass on that. All right, let's go to the next page here. All right. So we have this book for 26 bucks, a linear regression book. So just in the last August, September season, it was selling for about double what its price is today. It was selling about 50 bucks in the January season. I like how the used offer count is basically the same. Also like how there isn't really a ton of used offers on this listing in general. And this book definitely has some good sales velocity in January. So you could probably pretty easily have 3 to 5 copies of this and do quite well. Question is there going to be margin here? So it definitely is undervalued, but is there enough margin for you? I would say targeting like, what's the new price? 61. I'd say targeting like 55 is probably what I would do. So that leaves you at about a $10 profit and about 35% ROI. Like new copies, good copies, and you could pick up a bunch of them. So definitely not a bad book at all. Like if you bought 10 copies of this could be $100 profit book, right? It's just or $90 profit book if you were able to sell it at that. Again, a book that's very undervalued relative to what it has historically sold for in the textbook season. So you'd probably have to buy like 10 copies of that to get to 100, but still, still a book that is good. I mean, yeah, that's a profitable book right there. All right, let's see what else we got. Workbook. Okay, let's look at this one. Focus on grammar, access plus workbook. So if it has an access code, you kind of want to be a little bit careful about that. But when you do look at the actual reviews on the listing, it doesn't look like it has tons of bad reviews. So maybe the access code, there's probably a scratch off access code uh, in the actual book itself. Now, the reason why the price of this book has gone down is because the new price has actually gone down. You can see it kind of happened in September where the new price started going down, went all the way actually down to the mid 20s, and then it shot right back up in the 40s. And now it's $22. So you do see that the newer seller is actually the FBM seller, so they are shipping it, and the delivery date is November 13th, which is pretty slow. So it is possible some of the FBA offers have been higher than that, um, but yeah, I mean, I just pass on it just because you'd have to sell the book for more you have to sell your used copy for more than the new condition copies, which is possible, especially when the delivery time is so slow like that. But we can find better books. So let's just move on. All right. So we got a book here. It's actually not a college textbook, but it's about $7 now. It's been selling in the 30s, up into the 40s, some sells in the 50s. Long term, it's a book that no matter kind of when you held it in time, if you picked it up at this price, you'd be profitable. So this isn't a college textbook, but this is absolutely a book that I would go buy. Napco Shifter. It's a older book, 1999. It's for a very specific niche. 35 is, I would say, a very well priced book in as an FBA offer relative to historical sales prices. So even though there is a pretty big difference in price between the merchant fulfilled and the buy box, this isn't actually exploiting the buy box. It's more that the current used price, the lowest price, is actually undervalued. It's actually on heavy discount. This 35 is much more realistic for the actual real value of the book. So if you sold yours for 35, you're looking at about an $8 profit per book. And so again, I know this isn't a college textbook, but I would buy both of those copies that are $11. Even the copy that's 13, I'd buy honestly, because again, when you look at this book long term historically, you could have held in every year since 2021 and sold it profitably, which is a good sign that it's a profitable book. So definitely go buy that book. It's not a college textbook, but it's definitely a good book there. Let's keep going. All right. Ooh, this looks good. Let's make sure this isn't counterfeit though, because it does have a pretty decent sales velocity and sales rank. Okay, see how this one says highly likely to be counterfeited? This educational research book. So because it says that, I would recommend not buying it. Now, on the one hand, just as an analyzing of this book, it's currently 35. It was selling at 110 in August and 120 in January. So if this were not highly likely to be counterfeit, this would be a home run book. This would be an absolutely $100 profit book very easily. And I wonder if I could even sell it anyways. I might not even be able to sell it. Yeah, it's even a book that is in the popular textbook category. Now, what I will say is not that you should do this, but it's very possible that a buyback company during the season is willing to give you more than what you could even buy it for today. But again, I wouldn't even really recommend doing that, just because again, it is a book that has or potentially could have issues with counterfeits. So you don't really want to be sending books that you're unsure if they're counterfeit or not to a buyback company. So $27. I mean, it's close enough already to what the price is you can buy it at. All right. Let's see what we got here. Let's keep it moving. So some of these are looking good, but again, we're trying to find sort of the winners that we think we could sell multiple copies, potentially get to that $100 profit mark. So let's look at this one. This is an international student edition for the managing operations across the supply chain, which is it's okay to sell international student editions as long as the listing says international, as long as the image clearly shows international. Anybody who's actually doing any level of basic research can understand that they're going to get a international student edition. So that's all good. So 1558 is what you could buy this book for today. Looks like we can sell it. Usually the international student editions are not even, are not likely to be counterfeited at all. So 1558, there's only one copy available from Textbook Rush. There's another copy 18. So again, this is a really great sign of an undervalued book. There's one copy at 15, one copy at 18, and then the next copy is at 42. So a great sign there. The new price is 42, but in the past, in January, it was in the 70s. And a lot of people worry about the new price, but again, you can go back to years previous. You can go back to 2021, and the new price was 35, and then it went up to the 70s, and then at one point it was 102, right? So then it was out of stock, then it was 104. So it ebbs and flows. What I would say is what you're looking for is the demand in the season. Is there demand in the upcoming January season? Yep. So I would buy both of these copies. I'd buy the 18 copy and the $15 copy, and my target price would be honestly probably like 50, $55. So I'm looking at 100% ROI on both of those. And you're like, Joji, but how could you do that? The new price is 48. Well, it's from a merchant fulfilled seller. That's very slow shipping speed. I'll be an FBA seller in there. And at 55, I will only be competing with one other FBA seller. And again, this has more than enough sales than just one person. So I would personally, and I will, right after this is over, if no one buys those 2 copies, I'm going to buy both of those copies. Junkman says, when do buyback companies pay the most, like now in December? I haven't really tracked it enough to know. I would say probably leading up to the season, or maybe in the season is probably the best, because their algorithms will show that the book is very valuable, right? They probably use like 30-day, 60-day, 90-day averages to make their predictions. And then when they have their own data, when they've sold the book before, they'll use that as well. So yeah, I don't know. I would say, I don't really know, to be honest with you. I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. I would predict probably in the season or leading up to the season. So very good book there. I believe I did post that in the chat, right? I did. Okay. So again, another book that I will buy after the live stream. So these are real books that I would buy. They're not just like, I'm actually saying I'm going to buy these if you guys don't buy them. So please buy them. All right. Let's see. This pocket style manual. I believe this has an earlier edition that was likely to be counterfeited. This one says unlikely, which is good. Let's see if we can sell it, because this actually looks pretty good. This is the 2020 update. One thing that you want to make sure is there's a lot of like styles or versions of this particular book, and this one says 2020 AP update, and there's probably another version that doesn't have that. So just double check that when you do buy this book, that obviously it's the correct book. If they send you the one that doesn't have the 2020 update, then it's not the right book and you need to return it. But $15.58 is what you can buy it for. Good demand in the January season. Not very many offers. And I would say that my target on this would be probably right around $50. So again, you can see there's an FBM seller, but again, it's going to be very slow shipping speed. So I would be targeting what the other FBA offers are around that price point. So let's see what the FBA offers are. So there's one at 59. I think 59 is honestly not too unrealistic. It's definitely possible. I would say probably like 40. I think I would do $49.99. So 15.66, $49.99. Yeah, we'd be looking at about 100% profit per book. So I would buy, let's see. There's like 6 or 7 copies. I mean, the amount of demand here is like, let's see, the salesman gets in the 230s. Honestly, I think that if you had 5 or 6 copies, you could sell it in January. And then it also does sell decently in February, March, April. So I would actually be inclined to just buy all of them, actually. You can see that there appears to be a newer edition of this book, although it is not actually even the same book. And that does happen from time to time. But even this book looks like a book that you could, I thought this price point was a little bit lower. But even this is a book that if it was a little bit cheaper, would not be bad to flip either. But you have 5 or 6 copies there, $18 profit. So yeah, I would say that this is fairly close to being what I would consider a home run book, because you could sell 4 or 5 copies of this, make between $15 to $20 profit. So not an amazing book, but like I said, I would consider this easy money. In other words, again, I cannot guarantee that you're going to make money if you sell it, but I've been doing this for, almost a decade. And when I see a book like that, I go, okay, let me buy all 5 of those. That looks like money to me. So again, you don't need to sell it, or you don't need to buy and sell it. I can't guarantee that you're going to make profit. But again, if you don't buy those, I'm going to go buy them when the stream's over. All right. And we did have a couple comments here. Let's see. You said, I bought a quarter tax skipper. I bought for a quarter a tax skipper book. All the buyback companies want to pay me 45 as a mark on the corner edge. Should I just contact Bill Markley? No, if it has a small mark, it should be fine. I would just send it in, and more than likely you'll be fine. Yeah, I don't think you're gonna get a dramatic markdown if it's just if it actually is just a small mark on the corner and edge. Now, if you're saying small mark and it really is the dog chewed off the bottom third of 100 pages, then obviously no, right? But if it is truly a small mark, I wouldn't worry about it. I would just send it in. All right, let's see what else we got here. Okay. Compared to politics, sell for 29, sell for 50. This one buy for 18, sell for like 40. $33. A lot of these would be very profitable if you if you're able to get the buy box and kind of exploit the buy box price there. But we're trying to be as conservative as possible, so we're not going to do that. All right, this one's interesting. It's a loose leaf for zoology. It's Amazon selling it for 14. It was selling for $50 brand new in the season, or not brand new, in used condition in the January season. So it's really interesting that Amazon's actually bringing this down. It says only 6 left in stock. Order soon. You probably have a 4 stock quantity max purchase. So that's probably why it says 4 there. But there's only 6 left in stock. I'm not sure why this is on heavy discount. It could be because the new edition's coming out, but usually they don't do that unless they have tons and tons and tons of stock. So you can see this is the newest edition. When did this come out? 2023. But this book is still very expensive, so I don't see why they'd be on liquidation like that. So honestly, $14 seems like a great deal to me. 14. As soon as those copies are gone, then the price is more than likely going to shoot back up. Again, I see the offer count being pretty stable. There was decent demand in January. What we could kind of do to gauge whether it's still, a relevant book is see if there was demand in August. There was. It looks like the buy box held at $45. So FBA sellers were selling theirs at that price point, even though it was a little cheaper. And we could just go back to the previous August to see if it was similarly as weak. And you can see that it was slightly better, but not amazingly better. And so what I'm seeing is, yeah, the book is becoming a little bit less relevant over time, but it's still something that I think is a good pickup. So even at 14, you'd actually be buying this brand new from Amazon. And I would target like 40, $47.99, getting close to 100% ROI. Again, this is one of those books that, don't bet the farm on one book, right? So it's like if you only had $100 to spend, don't buy all these copies. Like if you had only $100 to spend for this season, I would say it's actually risky to buy this book because again, the new price is much lower. But for me, someone is spending like $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 per month, I'd be happy to buy a couple of copies. Probably wouldn't buy all of them just because, well, one, I can only buy up to 4 of the 6, but also there's a little bit of risk. You don't know for a fact if these prices going to go up and the new price is going to go back up, but come back if you want to, bookmark this video, come back in January. I would bet that the chance that the used price and the new price is in the 30 to 40 range, I'd say is more likely than not. I'd say it's probably like a 80% chance. So there's that book. Okay, we have a botany book, which looks pretty good here. All right. And it is, again, a book with pretty decent demand. So let's run that through the counterfeit calculator. It looks like it's all good. Again, make sure you can sell the book. You don't want to be buying books that you cannot sell. This was selling for right around $90 at the lowest price. It's now almost half that price. It's about 50% off. In January, it's selling about 95. And you can see that right now the used offer counts are pretty much identical year over year. So that's really good news. The demand in January is pretty good. You can see that the sales rank does go down. There's a little bit of a bowl there. The used offer count doesn't do any dramatic dropping, and that looks to really only happen in July. Like if you go back into the past and see these big drops in used offer count, you can see that always happens in the August season, but actually not in the January. So it didn't happen in 2024, didn't happen in 2025, kind of happened a little bit in 2023. So all that to say is I'm not worried that last January didn't really go down, but I would expect the used price to go back up a little bit. I mean, you could even see this time last year, the used price was at 54, which is very close to what it is today, and then it did actually end up marching back up even in December. So I would say this is definitely a buy, and for a book like this with a really good sales rank, multiple copies. I mean, you could probably pretty easily buy up to 10 copies of this book and do quite well. So let's go ahead and take a look. Looks like I can sell it. That's a good news. The buy box is 130. Definitely possible to sell for 130. I mean, I would again try to err on the more conservative side and not sell for that much. But let's look at what's available. So we have really just 2 copies. So I would buy both of these copies. It is acceptable. 93% feedback. It's decent enough. It's a college textbook. I mean, students aren't usually that picky. And then I'd buy this book again, 94% good. 66, I think is really not even a bad deal, even at 66. But I think you can move on to better books once you get past that point. So 47.55, I would definitely buy that book. My target on this would probably be like 99.99. So we're probably looking at like a $20 profit. Yeah. So about a 50% return. That's great. The chances of this selling are very, very, very likely. And so I would be buying both that one and also this one for 51.13. And again, buy box right now is 130. That's definitely possible that it could sell for that price. But again, I'd be more conservative, sell for 99, maybe max price like 109.99, and you'd be looking close to a $30 profit. So remember, at the end of the day, like just because whatever the used buy box price is, it doesn't guarantee the book's going to sell at that price. It also doesn't mean that um, you have to price it there, in both ways. Like if it's higher than what you want to price it at, it doesn't mean that you have to match it. Also, same on the same hand, it's just because it's lower than what you anticipate to sell for, it doesn't mean that you have to match it, right? Like you should be doing your own analysis and determining the value of the book yourself. And so I'm determining that probably the real intrinsic values between that like 100 to 110. But again, I've definitely sold books very similar to this for 130 bucks. So it's definitely very possible. But at the same time, I'm trying to be as conservative as possible for you. But this could easily be a $20 to $50 profit book, and you could buy 2 copies. So I'd say it's a very good book. Again, a book that if you guys don't buy, then I will be buying after the stream is over. But it's an awesome book right there. All right, let's look at this exercise physiology book. All right, exercise physiology, again, a fairly popular book. And in that regard, let's double check counterfeit likelihood. Let's also make sure we can sell the book. Now, one thing that's a little bit concerning is if you look at today's offer count, it's actually 66. So we're right here at 66. If you look at the offer count over here, I believe this is like 25. So, 66 by 25 is almost about getting close to 3 times more sellers. So, excuse me. What I would then think is that this mountain that we saw in January last year may still happen, but it might happen more like this, where it doesn't go quite as high because you have 3 times, close to 3 times as many people selling it. So obviously it shouldn't probably go as high. The other thing that's also concerning about this particular book is when you go back to just the year prior, you'll see in the August, September of 2024, you see how the offer count had such a dramatic downshift in 2025 January. You actually don't see that. You see it a little bit, but then in August, September, you don't really see it at all here. So what that indicates to me is that even though the sales velocity is very good, there's just a lot more supply. So there's kind of just more supply than the demand. And so for that reason, even though this book is at 17, 18 bucks and it's actually still probably not a bad pickup, you just should not be thinking you're selling this book for 120 bucks because it's just way too many people on this listing. So what I would say is make a guess as to what is most likely. So in August, September, with a very similar offer count, the buy box is right in that 45 range. And so I would say it's more than likely going to happen that in January, the buy box is going to get in the 45 range. So, if you pick this up for, what is it, 21.91, and you anticipate selling it for 45, there's about $1 profit there, but not even worth your time to even consider. So I would just say that, the chance of you losing money on a book like this is pretty low, but at the same time, there's not really a bunch of upside, at least from my experience with a book like that. So I would pass on it. All right, let's see what else we got here. Rolling. Again, if anyone has any questions, feel free to leave those questions down below in the comment section. Be happy to answer that. And again, if you're somebody who's new, make sure, if you don't have a BookMine subscription, we do have a BookMine Mini meetup tonight at 8 p.m. EST. Victor and I are going to be going live, and you can get a link to the Google Meet through the email you use to sign up for BookMine Mini. But it's for BookMine Mini members. We're going to go over the roadmap to 50K per year at BookMine Mini. Give away over $1,000 in free stuff, including a 1-month BookMine subscription, a 3-month BookMine subscription, high school book flipping masterclass, college textbook flipping class, which brings me to also make sure that you guys enroll in the masterclass. Again, the smartest way to do that is just to be a paid BookMine member. If you're a paid BookMine member, you get it for free. If you're a non-paid BookMine member, it's $297 for the 3 classes. So it's about like 99 bucks a class, which is totally worth it for the value you're getting into it. But one way we try to incentivize you to become a BookMine member is just give you a bunch of free additional stuff if you're a BookMine member. So again, anyone who's a BookMine member will get the college book flipping masterclass. It does start on the 5th, which is 2 days from now. And it will be at 5 p.m. PST for November 5th, November 19th, and December 3rd. So make sure you guys sign up for that if you're interested. All right, let's keep it rolling here. So, I mean, I'm passing a lot of books that, again, are not necessarily bad books. We're just trying to find some home runs. Like this is a book that has recently been selling in the mid 40s. It's now 1998. So basically, its entire life on the last 3 years, the used price has basically always been 40. So it definitely is kind of an anomaly that it's at $19. Looks like an older book as well. So definitely not a bad book at all. Pretty good actually. But let's keep moving. Yeah, teacher's edition looks to be more of a high school book, so we'll skip that. See if there's anything else that looks good. An LSAT book, LSAT Bible. What's cool about this book is really cheap. So I would just try to determine if there's some seasonality with this. And you can see how the sales rank started out really low in 2023, and then over time, its sales rank has become worse and worse. It's because you see how it says 2023 in the title there? Whenever you have a textbook that has the year in it, it usually means that there's also going to be a 2024 edition and then 2025 edition and 2026 edition. And so usually those books lose value pretty fast. So for that reason, you'd want to pass on that. So it is undervalued relative to what it's been selling for. It's been selling in the 30s and 40s, but it's a book that's what I would call a dead book. It's basically on its way to die. All right. Let's see. Keys for writers. Principles. This is a really good high school book here. Definitely you should think about buying this high school book next year. It actually looks like the new price just dropped too. Yeah, $82. So this is a AP edition, 2023, Brinkley. And this was selling the 140s, 150s. So yeah, it's not quite there yet. You could buy it brand new for 60. 60 to 120, 130 is pretty good, but if you see last year, it actually did get a little bit cheaper, got in the 50s. So what you could do with this high school book is you could buy like maybe just this one copy, just so you have some exposure to the market, even if it doesn't get cheaper. But this book will probably get cheaper. But this is an amazing high school book, so you definitely want to be looking out for this in February, March, April. Awesome book there. All right, let's see. Gardens. All right. So right now I'm just kind of looking for something crazy. Something crazy good. All right, this one looks really good. Again, make sure you can sell it. Make sure it's not counterfeit likely. Just as a rule of thumb, the more popular the book is, meaning the more sales rank drops, the better the bowl, meaning the longer and wider the bowl, meaning the better the sales rank, the more you're gonna have to worry about it being counterfeit. So like this one says highly likely as well. So for that reason, you'd want to move on from it as well. All right, let's see. This one's really interesting. Amazon just came back in stock for $38, but this was selling for, it was selling over 100 until Amazon came back in stock. It looks like they went out of stock, and they were actually in stock at like a really high price, $65, and then they decided to come back in at a cheaper price. So this book, it is possible that Amazon could go out of stock, but again, if you're somebody who's only got a couple thousand to spend, it's kind of more risky to be buying a book like that. So I would recommend passing. All right. Let's see what else we got. This is a really good book here, The Ethical Life, but that's a book that's also highly counterfeited, so I would move on from that book. This EKG book. All right. This one potentially could have a newer edition, so it kind of falls into that sort of nursing realm. But looks to be pretty stable over time, selling in the 60s, 70s. It's now sitting here at like $22. Yeah, 22.79 all in shipping. The only EKG book you'll ever need. That's the 9th edition. Is this the 10th edition? It is the 10th edition. When did the 10th edition come out? 2022. So the 10th edition's already been out for 3 years. That's actually a good sign. I'm assuming it's pretty expensive. Yeah, it's still very expensive, very popular. So what I would say is you have 3 years of data of the newer edition being there, where the old edition is still performing very strongly, which is great. Now you can see it says I'm not eligible to sell it, which could be true. Sometimes SellerAmp has errors there, so I would double check within Amazon Seller Central if you could sell it. But otherwise, this is looking to be a great book if you're actually able to sell it. And I would say targeting $60 would be ideal, which is actually what the buy box is. So 22.75. If you target 59.99, looking at close to a $20 profit. If you will, if you do your own prep, right? But I'm using a prep center, so it's slightly lower. But yeah, again, a book that kind of sells you around. You could buy multiple copies of this book as well. So pretty fantastic there as well. But again, just make sure you can sell the book. I may be able to sell it. Again, sometimes SellerAmp just has errors. But it's also possible I may not be able to sell it. So let's see. All right, let's look at this one. Profiling violent crimes. Again, do the basics. Check you can sell it. Check it's not counted for likely. Assuming those are, we're check there. Let's look at this book. What I like about this book immediately is in the past, if we kind of just get rid of everything else except for the used price and just make it super easy. Do you see how in the past, so this is going back to 2020 and this is 2025. Do you see how there's been multiple periods when the used price has been lower? And what do you notice in all those cases? It did go back to a high. So every time it's reached its high after that. And so the thing is, like, why would today be any different? Especially in the case of a book like this, which appears to be a much older book. So it's 5,000 days old. It's been out since 2012. So you could go back. Basically, there isn't a year that you could have owned this book where you wouldn't have been able to be profitable at the current purchase price, which means that the odds of this not being flipped profitably are very, very, very low. In other words, odds of you flipping this profitably, very, very, very high. So let's see. I did see Jensen was on the listing. Let's see how many copies. So they have a couple copies here, 14, 28, 29. So these are one of the instances where the actual FBA buy box price is quite low. But for me, I'm not as worried about that because I've seen over the last, decade that this book goes low and then goes back high. So I'm kind of ignoring those offers at those prices. I'm kind of thinking about overall value. So I definitely want to buy the cheaper copies, but yeah, I'd buy all the $10 copies. So what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's like 6 copies at $10, 10.07, and then I would be targeting like 39, or maybe like 37, 37.99. Maybe even less than that because I can get $10 profit at 35. So probably 35 actually is what I target. $10 profit per book. Now again, remember where you're at in your journey. If you only got a couple thousand to spend, I wouldn't be buying more than one, maybe 2 copies of any book, honestly, just because you only have a couple $1,000s to spend. You want to go wide rather than deep. But if I'm spending 7, 8, 9,000 per month, yeah, I don't have any problem buying 4 or 5 copies of a book like that. So pretty solid there. And let me actually make sure I link that. Again, another book that I'm going to be buying if you guys don't buy it. Jan says, "Hey Joji, how's it going, Jan? Hope to see you, Jan, in the college book flipping masterclass on Wednesday. I'm sure I will, but it should be a lot of fun." All right, let's keep it rolling. Okay, we have The Color of Justice. Let's, again, because it's a very popular book, check counterfeit likelihood. Also says very likely, so no reason to look at it. Let's move on. And again, a lot of you might think, well, Joji, I hate that I can't sell these, very, very fast-selling textbooks that are high likely to be counterfeit. Yeah, I mean, it is a kind of a bummer, but you got to be careful what you wish for because you'll be gated in a lot of the popular textbooks, which is actually a blessing in disguise. Because otherwise, if you did sell those books, it's very possible that you could have a law firm test buy books on your account and come after your account, shut you down, get you suspended. So it's actually a blessing in disguise that those books you're not able to sell. Child welfare, again, 2 things: make sure it's not counterfeit likely, make sure you can sell it. Assuming check. We're at 1470 for this book. It was selling in the 50s in August, September, or selling at the low end 40 in January, up to 50, 60 as well. Again, one thing that I don't like about this is its used offer count is kind of just trending upward, which is generally not a good sign. And if you look at where we're at right now, which is about 55 in the used offer count versus where we were last time, which is around 20, then you're about over double the used offer count. So again, this book's used price may go up, but I wouldn't expect to go up as high. Maybe instead of going up in the 70s, maybe it goes up into the 40s. And so you just have to redo the math. If I buy for 14.73 plus shipping and sell for 40, is there a margin there? More than likely not. So I'd pass on it. All right. Ooh, this guide to art. Let's go ahead and again check counterfeit likelihood on this. This one says unlikely, which is great. Again, make sure you can sell it. And if so, this is looking like a very good book to flip. August, it did well, went up into the 80s. Last January was in the 50s and 60s. You can kind of tell, at least in this year, that the sales rank bowl is much better August, September than it is in January. It's much, doesn't get it nearly as low, it doesn't stay as low for as long. And for that reason, it's probably why the mountain is much larger in August versus the mountain in January is much smaller. But with that said, you're getting down to really the cheapest you could ever bought this book for, which is right around $30. And yeah, I'd be targeting right around 60 for a book like this. You can see the last 3 or 4 years, the used price has gone down, it's gone back up. And if you kind of draw a line over kind of, this is what it looks like. So right, we're just looking to sell close to the shoulder prices there. For a book like this, it's gonna be a lower margin just because the price between what you're buying it for and selling it for is not great. So like if you buy it for 30, sell it for 60, you're maybe looking at like a $12 profit, somewhere around there. But at the same time, it's a book that doesn't ever get much cheaper than that. So you're not really ever going to be able to pick up this book at a better deal. I mean, potentially you could pick up a copy or two on eBay. Like this person selling for 40, you'd have to send them a best offer and they'd have to accept it. But a very good book, definitely undervalued. So 30.86, I think is what it was. Right, 30.85. And then again, I would target on a book like this, like 62, something like that. Yeah, it's like $13 profit, like I said. So again, a good book. I would definitely buy this. Again, not an amazing ROI, amazing profit, but again, you don't even have to touch the book. You just ship it to a warehouse and prep center, and then that's that. All right, this one's looking pretty good. Again, make sure it's not counterfeit likely. Make sure you can sell it, and if all those check out, we're looking at a book that you can buy right now for $19.36. Last January selling 50, 60 range. Same thing here in August, September. So this book is actually looking like a $15 profit book. That's 23 actually is what it is. So it looks like somebody may have bought the copy at 1936, which is very likely to happen. I mean, we've been live streaming for like 40 minutes now. So actually the whole BookMine is already refreshed since we started, but likely somebody else has seen this and bought it. And you can kind of see that little blip on the keeper graph and right back up. But even at 23, it's not necessarily even a bad deal. 23.37. I'd be targeting like 55. You're probably looking at like 13 to 15. Yeah, $12 profit on it. So again, as long as it's not counterfeit likely, as long as you can sell it, that looks good to me. The bowl in January is very good. A huge positive is that the offer count today versus same time last year isn't massively different. It's almost the same. Very good demand in January. Yeah. So again, this is one of those times where I'm kind of ignoring whatever the current used buy box price is. But I will kind of look to see how many people have in stock. So you can see Rock City has 17 books in stock, which 17 copies on a listing like this, where for multiple days the sales rank is under 15, 20,000 is nothing. Like those 15 copies could sell in a day. So I wouldn't even worry about it with that level of sales rank in that sort of bowl. So again, another book that looks good. Again, make sure you can sell it. Make sure it's not counted for likely. A lot of ifs there, right? But again, another book that I'd buy. All right, let's see. One looks pretty good. It's at 48. Looks like you can sell for up to 80. Let's see if there's anything else that looks crazily good. All right, so we've only really looked at what 5, 6 pages, 629. And again, if I actually refresh all of BookMine, it'll come up with newer results. So there's really not the thing is like you're gonna want to go fast because there's no way you're gonna have time to look at everything. So that's why it makes sense to like skip over stuff even if it looks decent, just because um, there's always gonna be more deals, right? And so it's better to kind of just scroll through the majority of them and just anything that catches your eye, just take a look at that. All right, literature of the Western world. I want to say, did I buy this recently? This looks very familiar. I may have bought this on a similar live stream. Maybe I didn't. Okay, so the buy box is 200, totally unrealistic. But what we can see is that it was selling in the 40s in April. It looks like maybe potentially one sell 180, but a lot of demand for 60, $60. The used offer count is very similar to where it was. It's a book that just does very well. It has actually 3 seasons, not just one season. So it actually has a January season, an April season, and an October season or August season. And it happens like immediately. It's like sales rank was 2 million and then boom, it's down to 67,000. Off count goes low. Same thing in April. The sales rank is 1 million, boom, it goes down into 40,000 and all the used offers go off. So I would say great buy at this current price. And if there's any on eBay as well, you probably would want to pick those up. This one right here at 1560. As long as you have one that you bought on Amazon, that's an amazing deal. So you'd be looking at what, 31.91 plus 398 shipping. So you'd be buying this for 35 on Amazon. Now I know what you're thinking. You're like, well, it gets to 60, so there's not much margin there. But again, what you have to understand about this book is that there's just not very many offers available. And when it sells fast. Meaning like you're gonna probably, I mean, you can see, so even though there are multiple offers, like you can see how quickly it gets to over $100, right? And so all these at over 100, still possible for them to sell, but you don't need to sell it for that. I mean, if you sell it for 60, 70, $80, you're golden. So I'd say target like 69.99, maybe 79.99, because that'd be a better profit for you. And I think that this could easily sell at that price. And then not to mention this one on eBay over here, which is a crazy deal for 1560. Just make sure all the pages are there. And it has some writing on it. Has some sticky notes in it. Yeah, so it's definitely not an ideal book to buy, but it's such a good deal that I would still buy it, especially if I bought a copy on Amazon. And of course, I would send a best offer because they have offer available. So I might. It is the friends of the library, so they may not do best offers, but I'd probably offer like $10. And assuming you can buy it for 10, now buying this for 17, selling it for 80 is huge. So again, buying on eBay, do that at your own risk. Again, I do it, especially when I have an Amazon invoice because I bought the book on Amazon as well. Definitely a little bit more risky than buy it directly on Amazon, but hey, everyone has their own risk tolerance, so do what you want to do, right? But yeah, I would say again, another great book here, and definitely go buy that. Misa says, when do we send the last shipment for the college season? I would say you probably don't want to buy books anymore, or the majority of your buying should be done by like mid December. And we'll go over this in the college book play masterclass. We have specific dates that we share with you, but right around mid December is when you want to stop buying, which means that if you're shipping, probably the getting close to Christmas is, I'd say like right around Christmas Day is probably the last time you'd want to send a shipment, because one thing we'll talk about in the college book fluid masterclass is the January season, August textbook season are way different because August, September is much longer. Sales rank is much lower for an extended period of time. There's more people start college in August than they do January. And so for that reason, the seasons are completely different. So in January, it hits you hard and fast. August and September is kind of slow and grow like the whole time, right? So there's a big difference, but again, we'll cover that in the masterclass. Which again, masterclass enroll. You can either be a BookMine member, get it for free, or you can pay $297. It's up to you. Both of them are great deals. Obviously, the better deal is to be a BookMine member because then you get access to the software and to sourcing books, and then you get the masterclass on top of it. But yeah, it's up to you guys. All right. So maybe we'll look for like maybe one more book here, and then we'll probably call it, just because I know everyone wants to get out of here. You guys got things to do. So let's take a look. Let's look at the stats book. The stats book looks crazy good. It's 35 bucks or 35.39. It does say with the course mate printed access code. You see the reviews aren't too bad on it though, so it's possible that people don't really care if it does or doesn't come with it. I would say you could try to copy the title and find a secondary listing, and maybe there is a listing for the book only. So you could try to do something like this, where you copy the title, boom, paste that there, and so there it is. I believe that's it. I just got to make sure it's the same book. Okay, so is it the same book? Let's see if the ISBNs are the same. This one ends in, it looks like 144. This one ends in 144. The images look the same. Student edition, behavioral sciences 2, Lineman, see what's inside, course mate. So everything's the same. The difference is that one comes with the one listing says it comes with the access code. The other one's just the book only. So if you did buy it, I would move it over here to the one with the book only. But the good thing here is that the listing with the book only is actually priced really high. It's like 80 bucks right now. And it has a great season in August, September. So what I would do with this book is I would buy all the $30 copies, all the 35, anything under like 37. So what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's 11 copies. And then I would throw it on this listing over here. So 35, 60, I don't know what it is. And then the target on this would probably be like 75. So I'd buy 11 copies, throw them over here. So that's actually a great book. And see, this would be well over $100. This would be like a $200 profit book at 11 copies. Now, again, remember where you're at. Remember where you're at in your selling season, or remember where you are with your capital and in your book game, right? If you're just getting started, you shouldn't be buying 11 copies of any book, right? If you're just getting started, you should be going wide rather than deep. So buy maybe 1, maybe 2 copies of this. Again, if once you're getting to like $5,000 worth of, like, you can spend up to $5,000 or more, then yeah, start branching out into multiple copies. But again, there's no reason to bet the farm on one book, right? There's no reason to bet everything that you have on one book, because it's not 100% guarantee it's going to go right according to plan. But for me, I would buy all, if it were me, again, in my situation where I'm at, I would buy all 11 copies of this book on this listing, throw them over here to this one, which is the book only listing, and make more than likely a couple $100 profit. But again, that's what I would do. That doesn't mean that's what you should do. And I'm trying to be as clear as possible when I say that. So I would say overall that was a great session. We found tons of good books there. The last book I would say is probably the best book that we found, which is kind of cool. We found it last, but yeah, that's pretty much all I have for you. Remember, the BookMine Mini meeting is later tonight. You can get access to the BookMine meeting quarterly meetup with Victor and I by signing up for BookMine Mini, which is easy. You go to bookmine.co. If you don't have an account, sign up for an account. Whatever your email is that you use to sign up for BookMine Mini is the email that will have access to the meeting link. We're going to be giving away over $1,000 in giveaways, including 1-month BookMine subscription, 3-month BookMine subscription, high school book fluency masterclass, college book fluency masterclass. And everybody who comes will win some stuff for free. So everyone's going to be a winner no matter what. And it'll be a good time. It's just for us to check in with you guys, see how you're doing, give you guys a roadmap to how you can get to 50K in revenue just with BookMine Mini only. So truly, we're just trying to help the little guy and the little girl out, try to get you to 50K revenue. And it should be a great time. So we got that going on. Wednesday, we have the college book fluency masterclass. Again, you can get it by either buying it for $297, or much better, you can just be a BookMine member and get it for free. So that's all I got. Hopefully everyone enjoyed, and I will see you hopefully tonight for the BookMine Mini meeting if you're a BookMine Mini member. All right, guys. Peace out.